Good shot, Nick.
What?
I really didn't want to score, but I'm just like, oh, all right.
Yeah, just
I
worked
guess
out
this will
perfect.
work.
That'll do, donkey. That'll do.
Call Nick a donkey? You call Nick an ass?
Pretty much.
I can be.
What?
Oh yeah.
No.
Okay.
Ah, that's it.
Yeah.
GG.
Why don't we just record it?
three best friends
Just three friends.
were.
I honestly thought Nick said that.
See, it says 3. It
Like
says
live.
3.
That
We
wasn't
have to-
Nick?
We have to delete that. It says 3.
Well, we can use it when we exclude whoever. God, Brent guy, what a loser. We're the three best friends.
Or when we exclude Nick, then we play it.
Yeah. Everybody but Nick.
That was a nice
We're the
grip.
three best friends that ever were.
We were. We
So,
aren't.
for the
we
record,
aren't our-
Dylan, no, that's not me. That is a recording against my will.
Did anyone else find a conspiracy that Tom and Jerry were named Tom and Jerry? So that was a nickname for the Germans and
What do you?
Russian, or the Germans and British?
Cal, you missed your opportunity for all of those when we were talking about the different conspiracy theories.
Oh, you're right. I should have used this. Oh well.
That's all you.
He wanted to too.
You said 2-2.
Kyle
Yeah, good pass. I just messed it up.
Oh,
Wide open goal.
my
Walk it in.
recommendation, Brent, is that it doesn't matter what the U.S. does; the entire world has to participate as well. If we're
That's
gonna have a real
wrong.
effect.
Well, obvious.
That's wrong. I think the U.S. has to lead the way.
Did you know that?
Well, they have to lead the way,
What
but
was it? China.
they
and-
themselves won't be able to actually do much without everyone participating as well.
Yeah, but the whole world's not gonna do much if half the.
I don't know if you guys have played Civ, but we just need to
Hemisphere.
focus more on our science research.
Yeah.
I agree with that. There should be more funding in NASA.
Right? Just go to the moon.
Oh,
Nuke everything. Then you can nuke.
New planets.
Just stop.
New planets. Fuck all this shit.
Well, we need to
We're
move
going to a new
on.
planet.
We need to move on from, yeah. Earth's
Forests. Yeah, my workers cut those down.
I would
can't
say.
just grow
I
them.
would say the whole idea of U.S. on their own can't do squat isn't completely.
Well, you get the merchant, you send him to the city state, and you get gobs of gold.
Exactly.
Like the U.S.
I've
not
played Civ. I
participating
know how
could
this
make
works.
it so other countries would think that it's okay for them not to participate.
Oh,
either,
he leg through the ball.
Yeah, I saw that.
leading to a well, U.S. isn't doing anything. Why do we have to do anything? Leading to nothing happening at
you
all.
missed.
For the record, Colin or Kyle better be recording this because this is basically the podcast.
We're starting it.
Like,
This is
all
the
this time-
podcast.
All the times you're sitting here like, oh my god, we just should have been recording this. That was gold. Well, I'm
Yeah,
telling
this
you
is
right
all
now.
good stuff. Yeah,
Here
let's
it
do
is. We're doing it, and as soon as we say on, some of you are going to have your personalities show up rather than just having a normal conversation. But that's me judging, so that's okay.
I'm with that too. I'm 100% on that. I agree. Let's just do it. I think the
What do you
most fun
say?
we had was the last, like,
All right, well, I'll
let's-
just here we go.
listening to you guys talk during Rocket League. It was some of the most
Yeah, I'm
enjoyable
gonna
stuff.
be.
Just shoot the crap.
Welcome everybody to
Yeah.
If I May, a podcast with me, Kyle, just an average guy, along with three of my average friends, Brent, Nick, and Dylan. We're gonna talk about stuff while interrupting. We'll interrupt. It's just the way it is. This is episode
Eventually.
42. Let's
We're
go.
going to interrupt eventually. At some
Yeah.
point, someone's going to interrupt. I
Yeah.
don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah, it's
This
just,
is casual Monday.
I didn't even mic check this one. We're just going.
Yeah, we're going super cash, which I'm okay with.
So hopefully
Oh,
you have
I
sound.
just missed.
Hopefully you can hear us. According to the
Oh,
little
I
loading
went too
bars,
high.
you can hear. So Nick
feel
and
like we should
Dylan
probably stop
are
now.
currently playing Rocket League. So we'll let them finish their game, especially if it's a ranked one. You gotta
It is
win.
ranked.
Oh, yeah. It is ranked.
Oh, yeah,
and
then
we
just
are
crush them.
like 6-1 in the last 15. Well, not 15 minutes. It's longer than that. Probably 45 minutes. But
Yeah, but if you're playing ranked 2v2, are you really playing ranked? Let's think about this.
What do you
What?
mean?
Or are you playing?
What?
Are you playing 3v3?
Brent, are you
2v2,
even
but I
ranked,
think
bro?
Brent, 2v2 is harder than 3v3.
it takes a lot more skill in 2v2.
You You have
They
to,
call it standard though for a reason. You know, 3v3 is standard.
right.
Isn't that the one
Okay.
that like everyone writes home about? Be like, hey mom, I'm
What I don't
They do
understand is
understand
why Rocket League decided to make like the special game modes ranked as well. It's like what? Why?
Yeah, that was an interesting choice. I hadn't played
I
a
kinda
number
like
of
that.
like months, and they turned that crap on, and you're just like, what?
I like it.
Ranked?
Kind of
It's
gives you
interesting.
it gives you a perspective of where you are at.
where you at?
Where you at?
yo girl, where you at?
Where you at?
Think of like Joey Tribbiani from Friends or something.
But I also want to point out that Rocket League has been breaking ground in the first game to really embrace cross-platform gaming.
I do appreciate that. It paved the way for a lot of really good progress.
Well,
this
I
past
hope
year.
I hope they make it a standard. I know like Arc is trying to do that as well.
Well, that's basically
but
that Google. I forgot what it's called, but we talked about it. I don't know if you were on that podcast, Dylan. I
The
think that's one you missed.
Stravia? No.
Yeah, you get it.
Labia or Labium or
I wrote it down. I wrote
The
it.
new Google
Stadium.
system.
Stadia. That's it.
I listened to that podcast. I know what you're talking about.
That's basically what
What
that
you
is. It's like everything cross-platform. I'm
Yeah.
surprised
Now,
it's
Dylan,
not.
are you
yet.
playing? Are you playing on a computer or your Xbox?
I'm on my computer.
Okay, because I am in fact on an Xbox, so we are
Right.
cross-platforming right meow.
What's
Whoa.
amazing is we can hear
Next
Nick
level.
through his Xbox.
No, actually, I'm on my phone for chat. Fun fact.
Oh.
Also, my phone's probably about to die, so if I just randomly cut out, it's because my phone died, and I've had it at like under 15% for the last 3 hours. So.
That reminds me of Dylan last week. But my phone's gonna die. I have 99%.
Under
Oh.
15% for the last 3 hours versus it's at 90%. I think we have a little discrepancy.
Dude, that
there.
battery,
No,
that
I
battery
think
saver
so.
mode is a battery saver. I don't know how they do it. It just works.
I don't even take my phone off battery saver anymore.
Well,
Right,
what kind
like-
of phone do you have, Nick? What are you repping?
Yeah, what's
I
everybody's
just
phone?
actually upgraded. I just went to the S9
Okay.
Or is
yeah.
is that
Galaxy S9.
Has it,
Samsung.
What's the one that blows up? That's the Note. The Galaxy Note.
No,
That
that's
was
the
like
old
Note
7 or
something or
so.
other.
Okay, so that's not the one that's gonna blow up in your pocket. Is it a phone or
No.
is it a tablet? Is it one of those like
phablet.
giant, like a phonelet, or they're just monstrous phones?
They're phablet is definitely the correct term.
Fabulous tablet.
Phablet,
That's the
phone
engineering.
tablet, phablet.
the phablet. I like that.
We got you good.
I'm rocking an OG Google Pixel XL.
Oh darn, we won
Hey.
3-2.
Google Pixel 3.
Google Pixel XL, the original. I got this thing on release, dude. Oh, I was
So
stupid.
did I.
You had the Google Pixel 3 on release or the Google Pixel XL
I got
on
the Google
release?
Pixel XL on release, and I just upgraded
Ah.
to the Pixel 3 XL.
I didn't know that. So when Black Friday came along, they're like, "Oh, the Google Pixel 3 XL is on this crazy good deal, especially for Project Fi / now Google Fi customers, which is the cell phone service that my wife and I use." And it was basically getting the phone for like $250, and I should have done
nice.
it, but I didn't, and I regret it because now my like Google Pixel XL, the battery's finally starting to go to crap, and it's slowing down. It's starting to chug a little bit.
So
You can
that's
just
one
have
thing
a
that
policy.
bugs me. Oh, go ahead.
I have a policy on my phones just to upgrade every about 3 versions or so. I almost made it 4 versions. I could have waited an additional month and gotten the like new S10 or whatever, but I had the S3 and then I had that for like 3 years, and then I got an S6 which I've had for the last 3 years or more, and then the S10 was about to come out, and I'm just like, S9 sounds good. Plus, I can then say I got a new phone every 3 editions, which works well for me.
Stick
So
with the
I
pattern.
guess what does everybody look? Oh wait, Brent, what phone do you have? We'll
All right,
go with
so-
that first.
I gotta do my gripe real quick. I have a not S6, Apple iPhone 6s or whatever it's called. So it's an older generation. I still really like it. I mean, I don't see what's wrong with it. I need a new phone, except for I'm pretty sure they have this like planned obsolescence where like the battery, like my battery life now is just goes like that. And maybe I'm using it wrong or need to close apps, but I feel like
Is
their
this Apple, you
purpose.
said?
Yeah, Apple. I feel like they purposely planned it out where they're trying to phase my phone.
I don't know if
out
they
of-
still do that because they were called out for their legitimate like scandal that yes, they were like downgrading they were having your apps use much more data or whatever it is. And it was slowing everything down on purpose so that you would always upgrade. So your perfectly good phone that's been fast and fantastic, after X amount of time, they send an update out that would essentially nerf your phone,
And
so you feel like you need to go.
if
get a
I
new
may,
one.
Apple's argument was that the batteries are starting to go bad, and if you run the battery too much, your phone can overheat and you just drain your battery faster. So they slow down your phone so that way your phone lasts longer during the day. But it's one of those things where I'd rather have the battery go to crap than not have a usable phone that's at the same state as when I bought it.
If I may, I want the right to repair. Like, why can't I just get a new battery?
You
know,
gave up your right to
that's-
repair by buying Apple.
That's what I think they said.
There's your problem.
No, but I think that should be a thing. I mean, there is a big argument. I know we were talking about climate change a little earlier, but like all these phones, you can't use them after they go obsolete. You just throw them away. That's not doing anything good for
That's not
environment
true.
either.
What about the phone
Yeah,
recycle bin?
they pay big money actually,
At Menards.
relatively.
Always
For
big money.
your,
You save big money.
No, not
when
save big
you
money. They
shop
pay big money.
Menards.
They pay big money for your used smartphones.
Well, I haven't gotten that money
They offered Verizon offered me $80 on my next bill or whatever if I give them my S6, and if they're willing to give me $80, it's worth probably 3 times that easy
To somebody.
as a used phone.
yet. Yeah, that's
Somebody
Your
takes them
idea of
apart,
big money
swaps
and
out the
my idea of
battery.
Big money are very different.
Well, right, $80 though for something you're throwing away.
Well, I
Yeah,
normally trade it in when I upgrade my phone.
Yeah, that's the money you're getting. That's what
Right.
Nick was just talking
Yeah.
about.
But
Oh,
but
okay.
they are overpricing the phone by $80 anyway, so then the $80 doesn't matter. It's just the phone. I don't know. I don't know. It's all crooked.
At
to
least
me.
with
Everything
Android,
about
you
this
don't
is
have to
crooked.
pay $300 for an extra 2 gigs like Brent does.
I'm not. I just. That's what I have. I don't know. If it's not broke, don't fix it until it breaks because of planned obsolescence.
What's the
Yeah,
reason,
full
Brent? What's the
syndrome.
reasoning to go Apple over Android?
I don't know.
Have you ever had an
You've
Android
always
phone?
done it.
I'm not an Android. I don't know. I'm just comfort. Like
Uh,
I don't really like the new stuff. Actually, I really dislike the recent direction that Apple's done. Like I don't want facial scanning to unlock my phone.
get a Google Pixel XL
And
3
like-
or 4 when the 4 comes
Like
out.
I don't need no home button. You know, like I like those things.
Although I am kind. I always. All right, let me restart. I
that was a
don't
great
like.
conversation there.
I don't like that they took away the headphone jack. I really like
Yes.
the headphone jack. So in the Google Pixel 3, they took away the headphone jack as well.
They at least
And
they,
that's-
in their defense, they do at least give you that little dongle thing that converts it.
Yes, they do. Which I mean, I appreciate that. But I mean, the thing is, if I want to listen to my phone in my car, like I listen to different things on my phone, and if in order for me to charge it, I have to go through the same port as where I plug in the auxiliary cord. So I can't.
You
do
can't
both
listen to
now. I
music in
can't-
your car
I
while
can't
charging
listen-
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
you just got to get yourself one of them wireless chargers. Then you can, because the Pixel
I
3
have one, but
supports
it
wireless
doesn't-
charging.
Right. I have one.
Yeah, but it's just silly
And,
that you
I
have to
just-
go to that extent.
Right. Exactly.
Nobody's
Yeah.
made a little adapter that you can charge your phone and have your audio coming out at the same time.
They had to
Um,
have.
somebody's gotta
There's
have
gotta
that.
be.
There must be one.
There's
Amazon
no way
that.
There's not.
Amazon that. It's got to be out there somewhere.
That's a Zarb Plus. That's a real thing. I didn't think about
Stop
that one.
trying to
It's
make
I'm
that
like,
a thing.
I'm like, what was our catchphrase again?
No,
Say-
just kill that. Put it away.
Zarb Plus.
Bury it. Never bring it back.
Bury it. What's that saying from a movie or something? Oh, what's that from? Oh, it's from the newest Star Wars or whatever. Like take your feelings or your
Dude.
enemies and bury them, or it was something like that. Whatever, you get it.
So I gotta ask. I know you guys.
Great reference,
Have
Kyle.
any of you
Thanks.
guys gotten pranked today with April Fools being?
You know, I
today?
did not.
Man, does it mean anything anymore? Like
I don't know.
April-
Not really.
The only good one I heard of
That is a
today.
good point, though. The one thing I did read is a lot of people who would regularly be shocked by things and appalled because the world is what it is. Were just like, yeah, no, I get it. Like, okay, that's the new. We just accept it because Trump's president. Like, oh yeah, of course, Donald Trump is president. Like,
Natural.
Oh yeah, nothing fools us anymore.
no more jump around during the break between the third and the fourth quarter because
What?
seismic activity is slowly ruining Madison's campus.
What? What?
Yeah,
That
that's a good one. That's
UW
thought
put
they-
out a letter that basically said they will no longer be doing the jump around tradition because
Did they do that this year?
Their seismic department, yes, their seismic department or whatever noted that the decaying buildings in Madison were partially due to this.
Dude, that's like old news. Yeah, if I may, that's old news.
Engineer did a study to make that legal because originally it was illegal. Study, like a seismic study, that basically allowed them to do it. Like he had to prove that it was.
It wasn't just one person. Like literally, the university banned it, and like all the mechanical engineering department like band together to prove that they could jump around and it would be fine.
Scientific achievement right there in the face.
At least that's
of
the
adversity.
Zarubus stat that I have, if I may,
mean-
stats.
They're not going to let us do a celebration. Let's put all of our best scientists to work. Solve this true
best
problem.
engineers.
Real problems.
Get our engineers on this. Let's go. These are the real problems.
What's the
Can't
point of
really
an
have jump
engineering
around.
school if you can't engineer?
Absolutely. Especially because the engineering school is right next to Camp Randall. So if any building is going to get impacted, it is the engineering building.
Nick, I think we should be done
that
after
was
this
pretty
one.
good. I find that the best pranks, the best April Fool's jokes are the ones that are there's a semblance of truth in there, where you're not really reaching to draw that conclusion. Like the Madison one. Like if they told me, you know, the seismic activity, I mean, it does register on the Richter scale. If they said that's too much when people jump, we have to put a rest to it, I'd be like, you know what? I get it. Like that makes sense to me.
Dude,
Granted,
what if
on
for
April 1st, you know.
what if for April Fool's Day, The Onion did real news?
Oh my god.
How funny would that? That'd be genius. They
And
should
all
do
the
that.
other news
Yeah,
stations.
right, 'cause every
continue doing
single-
what they normally do.
Yeah, right. Because like they normally do like the fake news or whatever, like this funny shit. But then like
Nick,
just
are these
during
guys just giving us
during
examples?
April 1st, they just play this is normal news, and everybody's just panicking because they're like, oh wait, really? No, that didn't happen. Oh, it did. Way to go, Onion.
Man, the
People wouldn't know
teachers
what
at
to
the,
do.
yeah, the teachers at the school had a really good prank for their students. They wanted them to write an essay about why are the tree octopuses in the Pacific Northwest going extinct. They're like in a threat of being extinct.
Tree octopuses?
There is no such thing as a tree
Yeah,
octopus.
octopi?
Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I think we had this discussion once.
Well said there. Well said.
Octopuses.
I think you could probably say it either way, if I'm being honest. But yeah,
I'm pretty sure we had this discussion already about octopi.
Yeah, I think you can maybe go either way with it. But with that, there's this website that someone made a long time ago that has very official looking stories about it. They have photoshopped pictures of octopi or an octopus, I guess, in a tree, and it just got the kids really good. It was like, do we have to write a book report after all? There's no such thing.
Oh, what age group is this? I thought maybe like
Fifth
this was
graders.
like a I thought maybe this was like a college paper. I was like,
No, they honestly did say this. I heard about it. The teachers that were doing this said they got it from a high school teacher.
Oh my
They were
God, I
with
can't
their
believe
high
it.
school teacher with their kids, and they did it with it. I'll try and find the website because it's a pretty well done.
So octopuses
official looking.
from infoplease.com. Octopuses is the correct terminology. You can technically go with octopi, it's also accepted, but octopuses would be correct because it's derived from Greek, which pretty much always puts an S at the end, so it would be octopuses.
I feel
so.
validated.
There
I
you
feel
go.
validated. Thanks, Kyle.
Octopuses is legit.
I'm gonna work on getting that link into the Discord so you can check it out. It's really actually super good. They made up all these phenomenal like Latin names for them and different types. Like there's one that's all for
Get the
shy.
Wikipedia page up
It's-
there.
It's great. It goes deep.
So the best April Fool's joke that Cody and I, my younger brother, teamed up on my parents to have a great April Fool's. And I mean, the only one that was discovered was the sink. We did the whole taping the sprayer open. That way when you turn on the sink, you instantly get sprayed by water. Classic. Classic. But besides that, we also went to their upstairs. My parents' bedroom has like a ceiling fan, so we put Beanie Babies on the ceiling fan, like all over the ceiling fan, as many as we could load up there. And then we also, in the tub downstairs, because that's where they would, like, my parents would give Colin, our youngest brother, baths at the time. He was like an infant. We set that thing to automatically go to showerhead mode instead of bathtub mode. And so when, like, the only one they found day of was the sink one, and that one my mom was like super mad. And then like 2 days later, it was like warm or whatever, so like they turn on the ceiling fan, and we hear my mom and dad both just like yelling like, "What the hell?" And then we're like, what is it, because we had totally forgotten. And they're like, "Who put Beanie Baby? April Fools!"
Got you.
Got him. And then like literally like 2 weeks later or so, I don't know, maybe it was a week, 2 weeks later, my mom goes and gives Colin a bath and like turns on the bathtub, and it actually does work. Like it sprays through the shower head and gets her. I'm like, why are you in the tub when you're turning it on to even get sprayed by it? But my mom gets sprayed. And
why
then,
does it take 2 weeks to wash your little baby?
well,
like,
infants don't need to
be.
be bathed every single day like a
I guess the
matured
dirt's
person.
good for them. That reminds me of
Dude,
a camp prank.
How often did you
but
take a shower when you were like 10?
How often as I could. No, I don't remember.
Right?
I couldn't
Like,
tell you.
below a certain age, it just doesn't matter as
Yeah,
much
it
unless they're
doesn't.
doing something physical.
Mud. All the
I think
mud.
my
How often
favorite
do you
prank-
wash your dog? It's about the same thing.
I think my favorite prank that I heard since I've been working where I work, basically we have these vehicles that you sit in to drive, and you use them to tow like aircraft. But inside is a fan that you can turn either direction. So whenever you turn on the vehicle, the fan turns on. And so basically we jerry-rigged a washer.
Who's
and
we?
kinda-
We need names.
Nope, not giving it. Not giving it. But basically, or I did. All right, so this is what happened. It wasn't me. It was someone else. Jerry rigged a washer to the front of the fan, and then they wrapped a condom around the fan, around the washer. So whenever anyone turned on the vehicle, the condom would blow up like right in the driver's face. Oh,
Dude,
it
condoms get
worked so
huge.
good. Yeah, I know. What do you do? What do you even like?
That's terrifying.
You just wait until it explodes, I guess. Like, I don't know what you can do.
Oh man, the best prank that ever got put on me was I was working as a camp director in Wisconsin, and my staff loved to like give me pranks just randomly in my like housing unit or whatever. Like one time I walked in and I walk into my living room, and they put styrofoam from one end of the room to the other. So I like walked right into this, almost like doubled over. And I thought that would be the end of it. And I got
trying to
really
kill you.
lucky. As I go down to go to the bathroom, I look, and I usually don't, but I looked, and they definitely styrofoamed the toilet. I was like, oh, that could have been a bad one.
You don't look at the toilet before you pee into it?
I do, but you don't expect, like, styrofoam is basically clear.
Are you talking about saran wrap?
It's
Or saran
basic-
wrap.
I was gonna say,
I was gonna say,
styrofoam.
styrofoam.
Not
It's not
styrofoam.
clear.
I was just saying, I'm not that bad of an. Okay, I would not have walked into styrofoam. I meant saran wrap. I never... All right, that's embarrassing. Okay.
That's
yeah,
like the
I
big
meant
white
saran-
packing foam.
Yeah,
It's
I was
like
imagining
I
like
walked into
styrofoam.
tinfoil. Walked-
I was
I
like,
didn't
you,
do that.
you walk. I thought you like tripped over styrofoam. Like and
No.
then-
I walked into the saran wrap. That's
Gotcha.
words today. I don't even know.
I understand.
Well, another one of my favorite camp pranks was when we worked at camp in high school. One time there was a little lion.
Wait, are you saying there was one time at band camp or at different camp?
At Cub Scout camp.
At Cub Scout camp, which is
There's
even
one
worse than
time
band camp
At
sometimes.
Cub Scout camp?
Yeah, that's about right for a lot of these stories. But What happened was they took, and there's the Appleton Performing Arts Center had the Lion King when it first started traveling around, and it was a big deal. So they had all these statues of lions made and some lion cubs, and someone decided, bless their heart, to donate the lion to this camp we worked at. Probably just get rid of it. I have no clue why. And we did, there's 2 pranks I remember with it. One, they put the full statue of like this adult lion, just pretty
It's
heavy,
full size.
into the
It's
camp
full scale,
director's-
1-to-1.
Full size, 1-to-1 into the camp director's cabin. That was really good. Another one, I think we took the cub and moved it all the way down to the raft on the waterfront. And mind you, we were in the shooting sports area.
It's like a 120
waterfront is
pound
on-
cub too. Like the base is heavy.
Like the other side of the camp, put it on a rowboat, brought it all the way out into the. Oh my god, that was. So then they brought a canoe and put it up on the roof of our latrine. It was so much fun.
Someone released a bunch of chickens into our school in high school.
Nice.
Classic.
Apparently the day
Have you ever tried to catch one? A running around chicken?
I've
They're
seen
hard.
Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, they don't.
Brent, our freshman year, apparently the year before, the seniors, their senior prank was to release a bunch of crickets. Because I remember,
Oh,
like
those
freshman
are
year,
net.
we still had like a couple crickets were still out and
Yup.
about somewhere, chirping away.
Those don't go away. And then they have more crickets.
The two best, or the two pranks I learned that, or not I learned, that happened to me while I was at camp, that were the two major ones I can think of anyway. Number one, whenever you were gone for extended period of time at camp, your stuff was fair game to get messed with. Like, somebody's going to fuck with you. So the one time I was gone for the whole week of scout camp, I actually came back really late Sunday night, and I just went to my bed, and it all looked normal. I laid in it, but they turned my entire bunk upside down. So I just like sunk straight through, because there's like plywood boards that are on the top, but when you have the bed upside down, they just like sink right through. So like I like pretty much fell through the bottom of my bed, but I was so tired, and it was like 11 o'clock, and I had to work in the morning. I was just like, whatever. So I just fell asleep on my bunk with it being completely upside down. Like they had taken
How
all
long
my
did you
stuff
leave that
off.
for?
Just the next day, I think. But they took all my stuff off, flipped my bunk, put it all back on, just how it was, but my bunk was upside down. So that one was pretty good.
Your bunks were always interesting. You were like the pioneer of the cave. So when you're in a bunk room, there was probably what, 5 or 6 other
At least 5
staff
was
with you. At least
standard.
5 staff members with you, and you basically get 2 bunk beds that you can kind of push together and make into one little bunk cave for
Yeah,
yourself.
you steal the mattresses from the top, put them on the bottom, and you have an extra thick mattress. And
Yeah, and these aren't great bunks, but they do their job enough, I guess, if you're that tired. And Kyle, I remember innovating and bringing where you'd put sheets, you'd bring extra sheets, and you'd put them over your bed, your bunk, over the sides. So you got a nice little dark cave of your own.
if somebody's playing a video game or whatever at night, you can block out the light a little bit.
Yeah, a true innovation.
Dude, the better innovation is like my first year at camp, we had this whole string system set up. We had hooks and like twine and stuff to all the light switches, so everybody from their beds could turn on and off the lights from everybody's bed. So it wasn't like somebody having to get up, turn off the lights, and go back to bed. Everybody's twined up, so everybody could just pull one twine to turn it on, pull the other twine to turn it off. I was pretty proud of that. That was an awesome system.
Engineering.
Engineering.
If we're talking pranks, I don't have any cool camp stories, but I do have a good work story as a financial analyst starting out with one of the companies I worked for.
I'm excited for this one.
It's okay. The situation was I was a brand new financial analyst, first time being an analyst for the company, and I was responsible for a bunch of new business units. And of course, as the new guy, they gave me a bunch of small stuff. Nothing too important. So if I screw it up, it's not the end of the world.
It's the customer that everybody's had previously that they know they're good with.
Yep, that kind of stuff. So I start out, and one of my biggest ones they gave me had a leader who was very charismatic. We'll call him a pretty boy. He always had very nice hair, very nice clothes. The girls in the office would regularly refer to him as the pretty boy because he had all these nice things. And I sat down with him, and I was talking about his first month's performance with me as the financial analyst, and I was asking for a few things. I'm like, okay, so standard practice within the organization is, you provide these things, I input them to the tools, compare that with prior years, and then we kind of talk things over. And then he just looked at me like, oh, well, usually I just get a report. And I'm like, okay, well, you didn't submit anything to me, so I couldn't really tell you anything. And we went back and forth like this for a little bit. And eventually he just kind of looked at me and said something to the effect of, well, before you got here, everything was working perfectly. And I was so flabbergasted. I'm like, that was the most asshole thing someone could possibly say while still maintaining a somewhat professional guise, basically saying, you're screwing everything up.
What are you doing?
I don't know what you're doing, but it's all wrong. And I'm sitting here like, what? So I had no idea what was going on. It took me several months of trying to figure out this guy's stuff and what he was or wasn't doing before I realized. And I talked to the analyst before me, and he just said, yeah, I just did everything for him because it was easier. Like, he's entirely useless. So I had just been managing all of his information for him instead of having him submit his information on his own. Basically, the manager didn't do anything. Like, he is every manager you've ever imagined where you're like, what do you even do? And most managers can hide behind the guise of, oh, I manage people and worry about the budget and the forecast and everything like that.
At a place, very busy, a lot of meetings.
Above most people. Exactly. Only come to find out he did none of it. And he had the balls to look me in the eye and say, all this was working until you got here. Well, what do you mean it was working? Like, what?
And it was not finances.
Yeah, apparently. So it was the most ridiculous situation ever. And he was the pretty boy, and he was well liked. And I'm, maybe not the prettiest human being in the world. I don't think I'm horribly ugly, but I don't claim to be a model by any means. But I had this showdown with this individual several times throughout my career with that organization, where I'm just like, okay, here's what you need to do, and everyone else does this. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to hold your hand like the prior financial analyst and just say, I've done it all for you. Here's what you need to be doing for this to work. And I basically had to teach him how to do his job. And it was funny how it went from, oh, well, you're screwing all this up to, oh, I'm actually supposed to be doing things. Like, it was really funny. At any rate, that was the guy, and he ended up leaving the organization. But before he left, we had all ordered new business cards. Like, every business leader ordered a bunch of business cards. And he left. So we had just stacks of this guy's business cards. And what we would do is leave one or two of them just in the most obscene place you can think of, underneath a keyboard, underneath the keyboard. Telephone.
Whoa! Slow your roll.
Well, no. Just it would pop up at the most random times. Like, you're looking for something, you're organizing your desk, you're cleaning something. You go to pick up your phone, and a Dave card, that was his first name, I won't give his last name, a Dave card would just pop up because it was folded underneath your phone, and you're like, what the hell? And just his business cards would appear everywhere. And
if I may, Cube Life can be a lot of fun like that.
It is.
Office Cube Life, you have to make your own fun. If you guys listeners ever get yourself in a Cube Life situation, you need to just make it fun. If you don't make it fun with the people around you, then I'm sure it'll be miserable. I luckily have not been in that situation, but Nick, I'll let you finish your story, and then I'll do one quick example of an office thing we did.
So for my Cube Life story, we had this individual who clearly got under my skin in a number of ways, and the former financial analyst would leave this guy's business cards throughout my desk, in just little places here and there, a handful here, handful there. And anytime I found them, I'd, show him and be like, ha ha, and then throw it away. And then sure enough, the next time I was gone, he'd plant some more somewhere else. And that was just the game we played. Well, Eventually, I came into work on a weekend, and I'm a freak, and I don't care about working on the weekends. Like, if it has to be done, I'll do it. And I took the entire box of this guy's cards, some 250 plus cards. And what I did is I taped every single one of them to the underside of his desk.
Oh no! All the way around, or just like quickly like roll the tape over?
No, like every individual card was individually taped
Oh god!
to the bottom of his desk. Like where you roll the tape so it sticks to the card and sticks to the back. Every single one. And the controller, who was a very good friend of mine, was also in this weekend. Just watched me while she was working for 2.5 hours. My boss, mind you.
And then on Monday, she's just like, "I didn't see anything. Like, who did this to you?"
I had a good prank similar to that. This is after I left the organization already, and what I ended up doing was there was a duck, these little ducks that I had gotten, little carved wooden ducks that you could use to make pins or something with, as a craft. But instead, what I did was I had someone that still worked there put it in our office managers, just randomly, like throughout the year, like every day, just hide one somewhere, and they'll never have any clue who these ducks are from. Oh. So
This is random.
I wasn't there to like reap the
everywhere.
benefit of it,
But you know in your heart that it did its job.
what I wanted to do at the end, and I didn't keep a duck, but I should have, was just at the last duck mail it to her
Oh,
with
like
a little
scheduled mailing.
note, like, yo, just schedule the mailing in and be like, I send my regards.
Have you
Or
found
whatever.
all 5? And there's really only 4 of them.
No, there
That's
was
what you
like
gotta do.
9
That's
There's like
whatever,
90 of them.
Whatever. Oh
Or-
my god! I was gonna say if there's only like 10 of them, you gotta like send the last duck with a note attached. Be like, did you find all 11? And there's really only 10 ducks hidden, and it just drives her crazy trying to find that last one. I would say my
Especially-
quick. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, especially in that role, that's one that they like to know where everything is.
Right.
That kind of organizational stuff, so it really would get to them.
So
Alright, what's your story?
My office cubicle prank story is that I forgot exactly why, but for some reason one of our coworkers had his dad worked at a clothing distribution place of some sort, and they were conveniently literally right across, like one of their warehouses was right across the street from our facility. So we went over there because they were doing like a sale on Olympic apparel and whatnot. So like a bunch of us, like 5, 6, I don't know, 7 of us all went over and like just went through and checked it out. The most expensive thing there was $2. So you could get like a full on like Olympic puffer jacket, or like there's coats, like just Olympic branded coats for $2. It's like, dude, like awesome. And so like t-shirts were like 50 cents. It was just crazy deals on Olympic stuff. A lot of it was like weird sizes and, you know, stuff that not that many people want. Like I think all the coats were like 2XL or bigger, that kind of thing. But then there's also this whole palette of these like glass globes that were for like the committee team or something. It's basically like, hey, if you guys donate to us, we'll send you one of these globes as a thank you. And there's this whole palette of them. And there's like, yep, you guys can take whatever you want from that. Like they're free. Just we're trying to get rid of them. So like somebody somewhere has donated a bunch of money to get one of these globes, and we can just take armfuls of these things. So
What can you do with them?
So they're literally just like a globe. It's like a little base with a glass. It's all glass. So it's like a little glass base with a little glass globe on it. And it just, you'd set it somewhere. I don't know. Anyhow, there was a whole pallet of these things and they're free. And we're like, can we literally take as many as we want? And they're like, yeah. So they had like grocery bags. We each loaded up like 2 grocery bags in each hand of these globes. We basically like emptied over half of this pallet of globes, brought them back to the building and set them up all on one of the other engineers' desks that was gone for that day. So he ended up having his desk was just packed with globes. It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure out like what you could even do with that. I was like, maybe you could paint them like as a project.
No, they're
like
straight
for
up
kids or
glass. It's
something.
like a glass sphere.
I know. You can still paint on glass.
Like, have you seen those things in the mall where they're like, get your picture in the glass? It was like that kind of thing. It was like a globe that had
Oh,
like the
gotcha.
Olympic rings in the middle, and then a little base that said like community member, thank you, or whatever.
Or like
something
the
that.
laser etched
Yeah.
glass
Yeah,
globes.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I got what you're talking about. I was like,
so there's a bunch of these
actually
like
picturing, like, a
trophy-looking things that are all like, I don't know, 4 inches tall or so, and the base is like 2x2, just all over his desk. Like it's set up everywhere, and the boxes were just piled up underneath it because they all came in these little like decorative boxes. But yeah, for months those things got. Hey, you want the? Yeah, Colin's got a picture of one. It's a gold level member for the U.S. Olympic 6 ring, something like that. So if you search that on Google, I'm sure you'll get an image of it. We'll post one to the Twitter or something. But yeah, these things were all over his desk. And like, there's nowhere to put them. There's nowhere to put them either. So you just have like all these globes that are they're like 2 or 3 pounds each. So he's literally got like a good 125 pounds of globes just sitting on his desk. And if you take them off the bases, like the sphere and the base were separate. So like these balls could just roll around everywhere if you can't just like sweep them off and knock them out of the way.
Ooh, that would have been even better. Figure out a way just to keep the globes on it. No base.
Have it just like a little tape line out of the edge of the
You're
desk.
breaking them all day.
They had carpeted floors, so they might survive. God darn it, Jimmy, or whatever, breaking on another globe. One more quick prank story, and we can move on to something else. Is that one of the guys I worked with used to be in the Army, and the best prank he told me about him pulling was, I forgot why, they were in a morgue for whatever reason, and all his buddies were there, and they were waiting for like their commanding officer or something. So they decided to take Mark and put him on a gurney, cover him, put him in the fridge, because that's where like they would pull somebody out from. And so like when the commanding officer came in, they're like, dude, like, check this person out. They're like, or something. He wasn't expecting it. And they pull out Mark's body, and he sits up going, ugh! And it makes his commanding officer basically just crap himself. He's like, I surprisingly didn't get in much trouble for that.
That's funny.
It's one of those things where
most
I feel like at some point
commanding officers are like, or most higher ranking officers are pretty chill and laid back, and like when you, like, especially when it comes to pranks, if they're good ones,
right?
Like, I mean, they're normal people. Like, they enjoy it just as much as everyone.
I feel like it would be something where they're like in front of everybody, they have to be mad, but then they'd be like, "See me in my office." They'll be like, "Okay, that was pretty fucking funny, but don't tell anybody."
Yeah, most commanders are pretty chill.
That, if I may, that entire time I was off, I was talking, and only when I stopped did I realize.
Oh no!
No, I'm kidding.
Oh no!
Okay.
I let the dog out and went to the bathroom and did a few other things. But when did I cut out?
It's okay. We're wrapping up the pranks talk. We need a new topic. So perfect timing that you're back.
Well, no, I gotta finish my story.
Oh,
I forgot what your story was. Sorry.
What were you talking about?
So, business cards.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Business cards under
Back
the
on
desk.
target.
So I was there working on a weekend, and I'm salaried, so it's not like they have to pay me overtime. And I sat there and put 250 plus business cards taped to the underside of my coworker's desk while my boss and supervisor of me and the individual I was pranking just watched. And yep, this is what I do with my free time too. So I proceeded to tape all those, and I don't think he noticed for 2 or 3 weeks until eventually
you don't
he
feel the other
brushed.
side of your desk.
Exactly. No one ever looks there. And eventually, just getting up, he happened to brush the edge of his desk with his leg.
That felt weird.
One fell off, and then he went to go pick that one up, and then he saw the monstrosity that I had created under his desk, and my plan unfolded.
Did you witness it? Did you witness it, or were you gone or away?
Unfortunately, no, I was gone.
No.
But my boss Jamie, who watched me put all of them up there, was there when when Ryan found them. So it was absolutely fantastic. That was my favorite office life or cube life prank. That went back and forth, and I was willing to spend an hour and a half of my weekend doing nothing but taping business cards of an individual I despised to the desk of my coworker, who I go back and forth with a lot. But
I think it would have been
that was a
more
good group.
evil. It would have been more evil to slide that person's business cards within everyone else's personal business cards, on their desk. So whenever they're talking to someone, they kind of hand out a business card.
Oh crap! No, give me that one back.
That dude.
Especially
they don't notice.
This
and
guy
then the
pranks
client
right
will
here.
call. The client
too
will call
serious,
this
bro.
random dude.
This guy pranks.
That's too serious. Yeah, you can't do that. The last prank I'll share, and then I'm more than happy to move on. Is my idea for a revenge prank of some variety has always been this: that if someone ever upset me so much that I wanted to just find a way to get back at them, like on a college campus or whatever it may be, print out and cut someone's name. Nothing but their name, or you can put a blurb, but it's probably better with just the name, and cut up the pieces of paper so it's like little square pieces of paper, hundreds of thousands of them, in giant trash bags, and then just walk or run through campus or ride through campus and sprinkle these pieces of paper that just have nothing but the person's name all over campus. Because when they asked who's going to clean it up or what this is, the only explanation is the
that
name
person.
on the paper.
Ooh, pure
So it
evil.
would be just to mess with somebody and just completely put them having to deal with this nonsense. Print out like hundreds of pieces of paper, cut them all up so you've got thousands of pieces of paper with nothing but just little things.
You had to
nothing too
space. You had to
harmful.
get a shredder and then space the printing so it lines up with the shredder, and then it helps you cut everything up
Yeah,
for
that-
you way faster.
Yeah, some way somehow.
Sorry, I'm an
to
engineer.
do that, and then just go with trash bags full of these pieces of paper and start dumping them out all over campus one night. So then the next morning, everyone's walking where they need to go, and there's paper everywhere, and all it says is John Doe.
And worst case scenario, it's paper, so it should biodegrade.
I heard anything. It's just going to be really weird and put them in some hot water over, you need to clean this up or who's out to get you.
It reminds me of when we used to ride around town growing up, and we didn't have our cars yet. And for some reason, it was like allowed for us to TP each other's houses. Like as long as we didn't TP like random
As long as
people's
it's each
houses.
other, it's the code. Right?
Yeah, that was like the agreement with the cops that we had like as a cross country team, was that as long as we didn't TP like other people's houses, it was okay. So what we would do, so we didn't have cars at that time, so we'd ride around on our bikes, and we'd bike over to the grocery store, and you'd buy like the big 24 packs, and you'd put it underneath your shirt so it looks like you're really fat, and then you just like roll around on the bikes, and then you'd ride around and kind of discuss like whose house you want to hit.
Who we hitting tonight?
Yeah, exactly. And then we'd
It's a
all
covert
like
op.
we'd figure out a plan. Yeah, we'd figure out a plan like how to get in there without like setting off their lights or whatever. And then we'd even go in as far as like plan out like a specific day where it like rained that evening or that night.
Because
it
it would
rained.
stick to everything.
Oh, it was like concrete after it rained. So like you had to hold the roll just right so that the loose flap went over the top
it
of
goes
your
over
hand.
your hand, and you have it come just about to your elbow, not quite.
Yeah, so when you threw
Yeah.
it completely unraveled the whole toilet paper. And I mean, you could really whip it over the trees, and like, we covered all the trees and everything, and then that night it would rain, and it was just like concrete the next day. You couldn't get it off.
Oh no!
So eventually, people just started cutting down their trees.
No
They had
tree.
enough. Yep,
That's pretty.
that was
good.
fun. But all right. So I wanted to ask you guys a question. I know this is like very, like veering far away from our topic that we've been.
We kind of been on
discussing.
pranks like the entire episode, so we can switch it up.
Yeah, but I've been like wanting to talk about this for a couple episodes now, and we need to get to it. And I was kind of like curious. I wanted your opinion on how to test and rate a person's physical fitness, because right now it's kind of an issue in the military. They have a PT test right now, and they're trying to change it. And what they're trying to do is make it so that it is a viable test for different MOSs, because obviously
Yeah, you have
someone
somebody
that
doing
sits as a-
office work versus somebody that's in the field.
Exactly. So you have a ranger and you have someone that's doing office work. Like obviously they need different testing. And right now, like I said, they're trying to change it to where it kind of suits your MOS. Because right now the PT test is like applied to everyone. It's the same for everyone, and the only difference is between male and female.
So I
So
think,
that's what.
if I may, I guess I think it might be beneficial for you to go through like what the current test is. Like I'm sure there's like running, sit-ups, push-ups, like whatever. Like go through what the current test is. And I guess the two things I'll note is number one, I think there is like an age difference. So if you're like above a certain age or have had so many years in the military, you're allowed to pass at a different level. And I
There
guess
is.
my second thought is that I feel like there should be like a baseline for the military, which I think supposed to be is the PT test. But then depending on your job, you'd have a more rigorous one after
Right,
that.
so
So like there should be like a
really-
baseline. You pass this, you're good. And then depending on your certain test, then there should be like an additional test potentially.
So we'll just use my age as like an example. Right now the test is push-ups, sit-ups, and a 2-mile run. All right. So, and they have a chart, and basically it's there's different sections in this chart, or different columns. And the age groups are 17 to 21, 22 to 26, 27 to 31, 32 to 36, 37 to 41, 42 to 46, 47
Not that you've
to
memorized
51.
this.
I'm looking at the charts right now.
Okay, I was just saying.
and according to the charts, you actually peak physically in the column that's 27 to 31. So in between 27 years old and 31, that's when you're actually supposed to be your peak fitness level. Which I don't know where they got that from.
Yeah,
but
I'm not sure about that one.
You think it'd be like the youngest one, but I don't know. But basically to like max out, so I just turned 27, so I'm in my peak physical window right now. But to get a maximum amount of points in push-ups, you have 2 minutes. You have to do your push-ups, and you're not allowed to put your knees on the ground. You have to stay in a plank position.
Standard
Not
Boy
a
Scout
plank,
push-ups.
but
We're doing real push-ups here.
real push-ups. So you basically start off, and then when they say go, you're not allowed to put your knees down, and you have to go all the way down to where your chest almost hits the ground. And for my age group, I'm supposed to do 77 push-ups in 2 minutes to get 100 points. And then to fail, to get a, where is it?
To get in trouble.
Yeah, so basically I need to do more than 55 push-ups before you start getting in that failing range. And then basically it's based off of a score of 300 points. So you get a certain number of points based off of how many push-ups you do, how many sit-ups you do, and how fast you run your 2 miles.
Oh, so like all three of those
And
things have a minimum.
combined, yes, exactly. So like you can, in each category there's a minimum that you and then overall shows your overall fitness level, and it says like where your average should be.
Gotcha.
So like for my job, my average should be about a 250, which means that I'm getting about 80% in each category.
Right.
So, yeah. So, so for the 2 mile run, to get 100%, I need to be running 2 miles in 13 minutes, which that's
actually fair. That's pretty quick.
That's fast. Yeah. Like that's like sprinting the full 2 minutes.
That's on the bottom edge of potentially being competitive.
That's a 6.5 minute mile for 2 miles.
Competitive, maybe not, but it is a very good 2 mile for the
Good
average.
amateur pace.
Good amateur. If you're not like a track, you don't do track, 13 is a good pace. Absolutely.
Well, just keep in mind that there's very few people in the military that are like track runners, like athletes.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm thinking when you're explaining this test. It's like I could probably do the sit-ups, I could do the run, but those push-ups would just destroy me.
Well, I think that's what Dylan's
I won't
saying is that
pass.
like
I don't think I could pass right now. No.
And then for sit-ups, to get 100%, I need to do 82 sit-ups in 2 minutes.
That's cooking.
So yeah, so you're doing almost one push-up every second, or one sit-up every second. So, and it's a little bit slower than that, but that's about the pace that you need to be at, which is fast.
I
So,
feel
and
like
then basically you have to have your hands behind your the back of your head and fingers interlocked. Like so basically that adds extra weight to your upper torso. Because normally when you did push-ups in high school and that kind of stuff, you'd fold your arms over your chest, and that lowers your center of gravity. But if you have your hands above your head, like your arms above your head, it adds a lot extra weight. Like when I was first going to enlist, I was just like, wow, I can knock out 80 sit-ups no problem. And then that's because I was doing.
You had to learn how to do sit-ups right.
Yeah, exactly. I was doing them wrong. And the same thing with push-ups. So it's like when going through basic training, there's so many people that don't know how to do proper push-ups, and you'll see them where basically they're trying to do their push-ups with their butt like way up in the air, like in a triangle shape, because they think it's gonna help them out. But in the long run, all those push-ups don't count, and you're just wasting a bunch of energy because you can still do all that movement and like all that effort, but the graders won't count it, and you're just wasting energy.
So Dylan, like if I may, when you're doing these push-ups and it doesn't count, do they just repeat the number that you're on until you do the correct one? Like, oh, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, or is it?
It depends on what, like where you're going. So like when I was going through training for the job I'm at. They're a lot more serious, and they don't tell you whether you are doing they don't tell you if you're messing up your push-ups. So you better do it right. So like when I was doing my testing, I thought I was at like 70 something push-ups, and when I finished, I was at 50 something because there's 20 that they didn't count. So obviously I didn't go low enough or something. Yeah. So I mean, it's not a huge deal, but because I still passed. But a lot of people failed because
you failed 20 push-ups. You did 20 extra push-ups that just didn't count.
I just didn't get 100%. Which is fine. You don't you can still pass without getting 100% in each category. And then for Army standard, like if you get above like a 290 or 280? No, 270. If you get above a 270 on your PT score, then you don't need to go in for PT in the mornings, which is huge because that means you get to sleep in. But that's usually because, and that only applies to people or that only helps people if they go to the gym after work.
Right, you're gonna have to do your workouts at some other point.
Right, I mean, yeah, because you might as well use that time to sleep in. So I mean, that's an extra 2 hours from your day that you get to use on your own.
That reminds me, just comparatively, very different world, I'm sure, but being a football player primarily in high school, and Brent, your question with respect to, do they just keep counting? That's something that the football players did with freshmen. It was always, you have to finish through the line, not to the line. And when it came to push-ups and sit-ups and full exercises, yeah, if you tried to take shortcuts, it just didn't count. We'll sit here all day and wait for you to do a proper push-up during the summer. Now, in season, if that kind of stuff is going on, you would get chewed out so fast, it would be absolutely crazy. But it's just, okay, we don't have time to waste on you. If you're at this point and you don't know what the hell you're doing, just get the hell out. I mean, if you haven't figured it out by now, yeah, you're wasting everyone's time. Go do something else. But it was hilarious to go from football where everything is so much strength and so much, finish it through the line. And I had a crap high school basketball coach in a lot of ways. We weren't a very good team. The best players in my class didn't even go out for the team, but I got to start, so that was cool. But we were absolutely horrible. But the coach was absolutely awful. We'd go to the weight room, and I'd watch these basketball players pick up weights for the first time in their lives, seemingly, and I'm just like, oh, wow. And even the basketball coach is like, oh, Nick, you have your football workout? You just want to go do that? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go do that. You guys can do whatever it is you're calling this. I'm going to go over here.
I feel like that's what the football team felt when every time our swim team came up. They always had this look on their face like, what are you guys doing up here?
For wrestling in high school, I think the only two things I can think of is whenever we went to the weight room for the first time that year, whatever the freshmen decided to pick up for their weights for that activity, we just up it to the next level. So if they picked a 25-pound plate, they're now getting a 35-pound plate. Whatever they tried to do, we just, as seniors, no, you're doing this instead. Like, so that's one thing. The second thing I can think of is like literally because of wrestling. If some freshman's being a dickhead, you just pair him up with somebody in a heavier weight class and just beat the crap out of them until they figure out to stop being a jerk. We had one, like my sophomore year or junior year, we had this one freshman come in that was just like, you could tell he was annoying the crap out of the coach. Like, he'd whine about everything. And then so like there's one point where the coach had like just got enough of him. He's like, oh, yeah, you're in the middle. And we had this like takedown drill, which is basically like somebody's in the middle, and then whoever gets the takedown stays in the middle, and you just rotate the next person to the outside of the circle. So eventually, even like for me as like a sophomore, junior, you get to the point where you're wrestling the heaviest weight person, and it's just, there's not much you can do about that besides just hope that they fall and you step out of the way. But for this kid, we just like put him in the middle, and it's like coach is like, no, you're going for 2 times around the circle. So basically, we all just like took him down. 25-ish guys taking you down twice. You're getting knocked to the ground 50 times.
Jeez, sucks. It's like charge drills in basketball. Hey, I got a question for you, Dylan, particularly, but for everyone in general. So I know you mentioned the 3 things I had to do for the PT testing, but that always reminded me of in high school and elementary school and all that stuff. We always do the fitness testing with like the pacer and stuff. Would there be benefit, or would you see having some of those fitness tests, or in high school go up to the Army, or having some of the Army tests be more like what it is in, like, would there be a benefit to standardizing that in general? Like what you tested?
So your question was like comparing the fitness testing in high school to fitness testing in the military?
Yeah, because
like,
in high school they have the pacer where it's like, boop, you run across the gym.
Yep.
Boop, run across the gym. 2.
Well, they have that, and I remember doing that in AIT. Like, it's definitely activities that we do for training purposes, but I don't think we've ever been tested on that. I think it was just something we did for fun, and it'd be kind of interesting to do that. But so that was what I was kind of talking about, the 3 different things. That's the old PT test, and I think for the past like year or 2, they're trying to phase in a new PT test, and I can talk a little bit about that. It's definitely.
I guess what activities does it involve?
So it includes a deadlift, a power throw, release push-ups, sprint, drag, carry, leg tucks, and a 2-mile run. So it's a little more integrated with different work. Yeah, it's a lot more difficult task too. So like deadlift, which is actually a lot of weight. So I'm not really a lifter. I'm more like I like biking and running and doing that kind of stuff. So I don't really have any problem with the run, but I always struggle with the push-ups and sit-ups. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. We don't really have to do sit-ups anymore, because the thing was, like, there's some people that the sit-ups really benefited, and it's usually the people with big bellies. Like, for some reason, people with big bellies, like, they can do sit-ups like crazy, and then they get 100 on their sit-ups, and then they'd knock out a good push-ups, and then they'd near fail the run. But because they maxed out their sit-ups, like, they'd get a good PT score. So I think that's kind of one of the reasons they got rid of it. And instead of doing that, they introduced the leg tucks, which that's hanging from dead hanging from a bar, and then you basically have to pull up your knees
up
elbows.
Above. Okay.
So you gotta basically hold your elbows at a 90-degree angle, and that's considered one leg tuck. And so basically this chart for the new PT test is all the maximums are the same. For the different MOSs, but then they have it in 3 different categories for the minimums. So basically they have 3 different colors for the minimums, and one's for heavy physical demand, one's for significant demand, and then one is for moderate.
What if you have a no demand? What if you're like a drone pilot? That would be a no demand.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There's definitely some.
There should be like a low, medium, high. Don't make those low guys feel like they're mediums. What is this generation coming to? This is the Army, and they're giving the lowest possible person a medium. You suck. Here's a C. You've basically failed this class, but here's a C. Doing it in the army
let
now.
me
Let me-
list off all of the 100, like to get 100% in this PT test. Let me list off what the requirements, because it's actually pretty intense. So a deadlift, so that's where you have the weight on the ground and you're like on a bar, and you just need to stand up while holding it. For the deadlift to get 100 points is 340 pounds.
Just once.
That's all. Like, I think.
Moving on. We'll move on. We'll move on.
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure.
can lift the bar. I'm good for that. I got the bar.
That's 40 pounds, Brent.
Heck yeah.
Oh, no, I'm
Yeah,
lifting the
yeah.
I'm lifting the other end of the bar, not the one with the weight on it.
I'm using a 15-pound bar.
So for the power throw, you have I'm not sure the weight of the medicine ball, but basically you have to throw it over your head behind you.
Like a soccer throw in?
and they-
Oh no, behind you.
No,
Like a
behind
keg
you.
toss.
Like- yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like a keg toss. And it's measured by meters. And to get 100 points, you have to throw it 13.5 meters. That's pretty far.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think it's a light medicine ball either. I think it's like a medium-sized one.
It's like that's like 40 feet. That's,
And then release push-ups. So release push-ups are like regular push-ups, except that when you go down, you have to set your chest on the ground, put your arms all the way out, like
off
you're
the ground.
flying, off the ground, and then bring them back in, and then repeat. Push yourself up,
Okay.
bring yourself down, put your chest on
Maximum
the ground,
possible
put your
effort.
arms out.
No judgment in those.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So they for sure know that you're pushing yourself up. And
Yeah, that's
going
good
all the
because
way up and all
otherwise
the
it
way
would
down.
just be up to whoever's judging you. Versus that way, like there's
Exactly.
literally no way to not get the push-up you deserve.
Yeah, so that's a release push-up, and to get 100 points, you still have to do 70 of those.
They
in
haven't
2
changed
minutes.
that.
No.
Oh my
So-
god.
Yep. And then a sprint drag carry, it's like a big heavy weight on a Skedco or like something that you're dragging.
Like a
And
person, basically.
I'm not sure the weight of it, but it's some drag that you have to do, and to get 100 points, it's a minute 40. So this must be a pretty significant drag, because that seems like a long time, and that's 100%.
What? So is
So
it sprint, drag, carry? Like you literally sprint across to go grab the dummy, drag
I
him
think you
across, and then
sprint,
carry
like
him
you
back?
I think you sprint a length down and back, then you have to drag something down and back, and then you have to carry something down and back.
Yeah, and
So
then
it's
your
kind of
total
it's
time
like
for all three of those
integrating.
is 140 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Dang, if
I
you-
talked.
What's
What's
that stuff? If you can do all that stuff, you're in good shape. You're
Right.
Really good.
So, and then leg tucks, to get 100%, you have to do 20 of them. So, and that's
In 2 minutes?
you get. Yes.
Okay.
Now I don't know if you ever tried those, but those are hard. So, like normally, like to fail for a heavy physical demand unit to fail is 5. So like that's not very many, and you can still pass. And then for the 2-mile run, they decrease the time yet down to 12:45 for 100%.
Dang. You have to
So,
get even
so
faster.
you have to run even faster now.
Run faster. Jump higher.
Yeah, so that'll be really interesting. And then so
When I say jump, you say how high. They've just been raising the bar.
yeah, so obviously the physical levels have been increasing a little. So that's the PT test, but then another segment to physical health is height and weight, which you do your height and weight, and then you take your PT test. So the height and weight is basically showing that you qualify to even take the test. So basically they measure your height, and then they take a measurement of your weight, and that gives them like a general idea of your how fat you are. And then if you fail that, which I don't think I'm that big, but I fail it every time because I'm a little bit shorter, and I've always been kind of a thick dude, and I always fail it. So if you fail the height and weight, which I can go through those standards, but if you fail the height and weight, then you go into the body fat standards, and they measure your neck and your belly line, and that gives them a general idea of your body fat. And then they have a standard for different age groups of the allowable body fat.
Did you say that the one time you went in there and they were like about to do the body fat measurement, you like took off your shirt and they're like, "You're good," and they just like signed you
Yeah.
off?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm just kind of naturally heavy for my height. Which is a common occurrence. I run into a lot of people that are just like, I've never passed height and weight. So I think that needs a little bit of a change somehow. Especially because there's some dudes that are actually like kind of obese, but they've got really big necks. and the bigger neck you have, the better the standard is. Yeah, so like
Big neck.
You got a
so if
big
you have
neck.
you have a really thick neck, then the percentage looks better because it kind of balances
You
out.
distribute out. You don't have all that neck length.
Yeah, exactly. So well, it's the diameter around. So if you have a big neck,
Dude,
then statistically you're not very big in the waist.
So in wrestling, I remember our coach had the like shortest neck, and like at one point in time he's like trying to teach how to like get out of headlocks. He's like, you gotta turtle your neck, and I know you guys have all seen me, but it's like, coach, this neck don't turtle. I can't. Like, coach, I can't turtle. Like this is too long to turtle.
Yeah,
Oh
I'll be
my
the
God.
one to say that you don't really have the body type of a solid wrestler.
No,
Like,
no, not
Just
really.
calling it
I was
out.
long and lanky. I had to go like leg riding and weird stuff because like there's.
You're that dude that just got bent over someone's knee.
Thanks, Dylan.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, you're more of a basketball build than a wrestler.
Dude,
What?
I feel like I should have been a good runner, but it's not a thing that I enjoy doing.
You
I
have to
don't-
love it. You have
I
to
don't-
love it. It's a grind.
I don't like
It's
doing
such a
work
grind.
for the sake of work. Like one of my favorite wrestling practices were instead of going to the weight room, we just grab shovels and like help shovel some spots in the parking lot. Like I like the whole weight room idea. Like I just don't like the idea of I pick things up and put them down. Like I feel like you should be doing something with labor. Like I'd much
You need a
rather
purpose.
go to a farm and have them put me to work than to go into a weight room and just move metal around.
I know, like the local college team, when I was working back in Wisconsin, would come and do. They'd chop wood for us as their like wrestling practice and
Yeah,
volunteering.
dude, that's legit workout too.
Yeah, it's a good way to get in shape.
I do that to
Chop
relieve
and stack
stress.
wood.
Dude, chopping wood is so much fun. I love chopping wood. To an
So
extent.
yeah, so that's kind of like the standard now, and like the future PT tests. I kind of wanted to get your guys' opinion on like how like what would be a good way to standardize how you judge, or like what would be a good way to judge physical fitness of a soldier.
I think you got to go with what you're doing, right? So there's got to be running involved. You should have to run with a backpack, or
Do you think there should be a ruck?
Yeah, there should be
Like
a
a
ruck. Yeah, they used to do that with like basically the OG Olympics. Like the original Olympics, they had like running with gear on, like your soldier gear. They had wrestling, so there should be some sort of maybe you can't
Like
necessarily judge.
combatives?
Yeah, combatives. Maybe you have to. That's maybe some of the strength stuff. Like I don't know if you can do a really fair mass judgment by just pairing up each person with somebody else randomly that can, judge how good of a fighter they are. But you basically go back to the original Olympics and look at those, and a carriage race. Maybe you guys, if you're a driver, you have to demonstrate that you can drive your Humvee over a course in a certain period of time. I don't know.
So if
But
we're
is
going
that
back
judging?
to the original Olympics, here's my take. We develop a Spartan style army. At birth, these children are analyzed to figure out, okay, are they healthy? Are they fit? We train them from birth, and then after they reach the age of 27 or 28, let them be set for life with a salary that's 75% above average, something like that. Just do
I
that.
wonder-
I don't really notice.
Well, Dylan's doing his part. Will you do your part?
Well, I wonder with that though, is that as necessary with all this drone warfare and they can do so much stuff remotely? Is the I don't know, I guess maybe you can speak more to it, but what is the role of the soldier in the new?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that so you're talking about having combatives part of the PT test, but there's such a small, like tiny percentage of the military that actually does any fighting. Like, I don't even know if I know anyone that's even like been in an actual gunfight. Like there's so few people in the military that actually do the fighting that you can't really have.
Yeah, I
other
think I did
people.
hear once that there's like 3 or 4 support guys for every single one soldier on the ground, or I forgot what the stat was. Like that's almost something we should look up.
I don't know, but like I mean, I'll go overseas and I do like obviously I'm support and I'm there to make sure those guys are going out. But like, yeah, you're right. There's so many more support people out there that don't do any fighting. Like so many people that are there just to run computers or run different systems or find parts or like do all these other things. Like there's really very few people that actually go out and fight. So I don't know. That's
Yeah, I don't know. I've been listening. And I love mentioning this
So-
because it's a big time crunch in my life. I listen to like World War One podcast, and I
Okay.
just don't know if I'd see fighting like that again, where there's thousands of people going at head to head.
you'll never see that again, except
Yeah,
for maybe space, because I don't think we
Yeah.
know how to fight in space yet. Obviously.
Where they're just
So
throwing stuff
from
at
this
each
random
other.
website on the internet, less than 1% of military members who actually serve in combat roles are like
Less than
Less than
1%.
1% is what this random person on the internet says.
All right. Random person.
Yep.
But I agree. Like, I could totally see that. Like, most people go over there, and you're right. Most people are support, and I could totally see that less than 1% actually sees combat.
I think it's
So-
obviously going to change over time, but in probably like the history of the U.S., it's probably about that.
Yeah, it'll get less. We are going more towards drones and all these
Yeah, the
unmanned
automated ways of
vehicles
killing.
and yeah, it'll be way less people. Even how it is now, like most of the strikes are drones now, and like the drones are getting more and more like capable of doing different things. Like
Well, like even in like the Iraq-Iran wars, like when they had like Black Hawk Down, for example, I believe that was Iraq-Iran or it was Desert Storm. Either way, like it was a more modern war. It was considered heavy U.S. casualties, and they still went like 14-to-1 ratio of people dying. It was still ridiculous, and that was bad. And that was a bad fight for us as far as fights go. And our ratio is still like
Right.
14-to-1.
right.
Anyhow.
Yeah, and I think it'll get obviously like in war you want to minimize your casualties, and the easiest way to do that is not put people in there in the first place. So if you can solve a problem by sending a drone, then they're gonna do it.
Speaking of like solving a problem, this is something I've thought of a few times and I haven't had a good answer to. But they always say like nuclear weapons are what's gonna keep all the peace. Is that a true statement, or is that I don't know if I see that.
Wait, what do you mean are gonna keep the peace?
Because everybody has nukes, nobody's going to fight
Everyone has
anybody
nukes,
because
no
then
one's gonna
everybody
use
mutual
that.
destruction.
Is that gonna actually prevent war, or is that just like we
I think
have
what a saying my dad said, I'm not sure where he got it from, was like, I don't know what weapons will be used in World War III, but World War IV will be fought with rocks and sticks.
if it's
Yeah,
even
probably.
there's even World War IV.
There's even people
I don't know
left
what
after
weapons will be
fight.
used in World War III, but World War IV will have rocks and sticks.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't like. Right now, I think nukes are mostly used as like we have them, but I don't think we'd ever use them again because they're so destructive.
Well, it's such a big decision because no matter what, if you start sending multiple nukes, like even think of Chernobyl, one nuclear facility went down and there's still like radiation, nobody can be there. Same thing with like Nagasaki, Hiroshima. There's still abandoned cities because of the nuclear fallout. You just can't do it without affecting yourself at some point. Like you're just gonna mess up. You'll literally mess up the Earth so bad that
Did you know that the Russians invented a nuke that was 20 times bigger than the one we dropped, like over, like in Japan?
dude,
There
the
was-
Nagasaki, Hiroshima bombs are ants compared to what we have. The largest bomb tested is like 3,000 times as powerful as those. And there's ones that are like 10,000 times more powerful that just have never been tested because it would be too scary.
There was a bomb that they said they created. They have the ability
It's the hydrogen
to
bombs
create,
now. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a bomb that they're able to create that'll basically blow into the upper atmosphere.
There's a really cool website that you can go to that shows you can basically simulate dropping bombs on different wherever you want in the world, and it shows you kind of like what the explosion, like the instant vaporization range is, the explosion damage range is,
the fallout range,
the fallout,
and
then eventually like the nuclear fallout, and then the cloud that would form and like all the area that would be affected and screwed over.
That's interesting.
And so you can like drop the Nagasaki, Hiroshima, Big Boy, Little Daddy, whatever they were, bombs on like New York City, see what that looks like, and then take one of the real bombs, quote unquote, real ones from nowadays, and it's just astronomically different.
I wonder how many bombs it would take to completely kill everyone. Like I feel like it wouldn't be that many.
No, I think at one point the U.S. and Russia, there was a stat that was like they have enough bombs to cover the entire Earth 7 times over or something like that.
Yeah, I mean you really wouldn't need that many to block out the sun.
Yeah, that's all you need.
And then
to
the
do,
drones
really.
take over, and then you have to plug into the Matrix to get in there and find Neo. Yeah, I've seen it.
I feel like they made a documentary on that one time, didn't they?
Yeah, it's called The Matrix.
Oh yeah, I thought so. 3-part documentary series.
Well, you know, the answer to life, the universe, and everything is 42, and this was episode 42. So hopefully you guys learned that the meaning of life, universe, and everything is pranks, Army PT tests,
And don't drop nukes.
and don't drop nukes. So hope everybody enjoyed. Bringing you a new episode every Thursday. Feel free to support us. We got merch available. Otherwise, please subscribe, share, rate, review the podcast. If you liked it, the best form of support is to have a friend listen to it. If you want to get in contact with us, we have we have a Twitter and an email down in the description. And then with that, we'll have a great Thursday, and we'll see you next week. Oh my God.
Oh, and if you're listening with
I
young kids,
did not hit the start
unclean
recording.
language.
You're not what?
I did not hit start recording.
Ha!
So we didn't record any of that?
Fuck.
Oh.
It better be an April Fool.
It's an April Fool's.
Oh my God.
Nick, you should have gone with it a little longer. I at least had Brent.
Yeah, oh my God, they had me. You had me there.
That was definitely
Holy
episode 43.
No,
Was
it's
it?
42. 43 is the. There's like a bonus episode in there. It doesn't count.
No, why is somebody putting a 3 in there?
Because that was episode episode 42 was last week.
No, that 41 was last week. It's just like off one.
Oh my
But I
God.
don't know.
We'll
I'm pretty
figure
sure
it
it's
out.
only 41.
Okay. I'm going to stop the recording now.